becoming clear. And when you finally learn to detach, not with anger, but with wisdom, you'll begin to see who you really are without the noise, without the pressure, without the masks. Today, we talk about how to detach from people and situations that are draining your spirit and how to walk forward, free, grounded, and unbothered. Do you ever notice how tired your spirit feels after trying to explain yourself to someone who already made up their mind about you? Like, no matter how carefully you speak, how much heart you pour into your words, they still twist your truth, still shrink your intention, still find fault in the way you love, live, or move. That kind of emotional labor is draining. It's like pouring water into a cup with a hole at the bottom. It never fills, it only empties you. To hone in, and the harsh truth is, some people don't want to understand you. They need you to stay misunderstood so they can keep controlling the narrative. They need to believe you're the villain, because if they saw the real you, the one who tried, who cared, who gave, they'd have to confront themselves, and they're not ready for that. So they turn your honesty into attitude, your boundaries into bitterness, your peace into arrogance. But listen to me, your worth is not up for debate. You do not need to be on trial every time you speak your truth. The minute you realize that, the minute you stop explaining yourself, is the moment you start reclaiming your peace. You spend so much of your life begging people to just see you, to see your heart, your effort, your intention. But there are some folks who walk into the room already wearing blindfolds. They see what they want, hear what they want, and when you speak, it's like yelling into a hurricane. No matter how loud your truth is, it gets drowned by their assumptions. And the more you explain, the more you twist yourself into shapes you were never meant to take. You shrink. You water yourself down just to be digestible. But baby, you are not built for their comfort. You are built for truth, for light, for purpose. And if someone has already decided you're too much, too complicated, too emotional, too different, then let them go find less. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries, your healing, your growth. You owe yourself freedom. And freedom starts the moment you stop seeking validation from the same hands that bruised you. It hurts, doesn't it, to be misunderstood by someone you thought would fight to understand you? You thought if you just said it differently, maybe they'd hear you this time. Maybe they'd see the sincerity in your eyes, the shaking in your voice, the truth sitting quietly behind every word. But they didn't. And every time they twisted your truth, it cut deeper than the last, until one day you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize yourself, because you had become a version of you that was always defending, always proving, always apologizing for simply being. That is not your identity. That is not your purpose. You were never created to convince, you were created to be. And anyone who truly sees you, feels you, values you, won't require an explanation. They'll sit with you in silence and still hear your heart. So let go. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. Because peace isn't found in trying to fix their perspective. It's found in finally walking away. People committed to misunderstanding you will never hear your heart, only your volume. The louder you try to explain, the more they accuse you of being dramatic, sensitive, too much. And they'll weaponize your emotions to make you feel guilty for even having them. That's the trap. That's how they keep you stuck, always chasing closure from someone who benefits from your confusion. But you have to understand, not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. Some people only listen to reload. They ask questions not to understand, but to find weak spots to exploit later. That's why detachment isn't bitterness, it's protection. It's saying, I love myself enough not to bleed for someone who doesn't want to heal with me. You deserve relationships where communication doesn't feel like combat, where your truth isn't met with suspicion, where you're not constantly being told that your pain is an overreaction. When you stop explaining yourself to people who never deserved your openness in the first place, you finally start healing in the right direction. You cannot build a healthy identity on unstable ground. And trying to explain yourself to people who are more interested in judgment than understanding is like building a house on sand. It will collapse every time. You'll keep questioning yourself. Was I too harsh? Did I say it wrong? Am I the problem? But self-doubt born from constant defense is not clarity, it's corrosion. It eats at you. Slowly, until you're not sure if your truth is even real anymore. That's what happens when you give too much power to people who haven't earned your story. It's time to take that power back. Not through confrontation, not through revenge, but through silence. through redirection, through detachment. When someone shows you, not with their words, but with their patterns, that they are not willing to meet you halfway, stop walking all the way to them. Let them stay in their version of the story. You don't have to correct it. You just have to live so fully in your truth that it becomes undeniable. That's how peace returns. Not through being understood, but through being at peace with not needing to be. There's a difference between people who don't understand you yet and people who refuse to understand you. The first group may take time, and that's okay. But the second group, they're not your responsibility. They're the ones who hear you say this hurts and still keep doing it. The ones who watch you fall and still ask why you weren't strong enough to stand. Those people will exhaust your soul, and you cannot keep shrinking your fire to comfort those afraid of light. You don't need to explain your peace, your stillness, your absence, or your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Just leave. Let them talk. Let them tell the world their side. Because when your life starts blossoming, when your energy starts glowing, when your spirit begins to rise, they'll know exactly why you walked away. You don't detach to hurt them. You detach to finally stop hurting yourself. You've explained yourself enough. Now let your peace do the talking. Let your healing be the final word. You ever walk into a room and felt tired without saying a word? Like something heavy was pressing on your spirit, but you couldn't name it? That's not just in your head. That's energy. That's your soul picking up on chaos, on bitterness, on the tension people don't speak but always carry. And if you're not careful, if you don't start guarding your energy like it's sacred, you'll carry their weight like it's yours. You'll find yourself tired, anxious, doubting yourself, and you won't even know why. That's why protecting your energy isn't a luxury, it's survival. You don't owe everyone access to your peace. Just because someone's familiar doesn't mean they're safe. Just because they smile doesn't mean they're for you. Some hands don't heal, they drain. Some conversations don't uplift, they deplete. And if you keep allowing people to plug into you like a charger but never pour anything back, one day you'll wake up on empty. Protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your peace, your clarity, your purpose, it all flows from your energy. And once you start treating it like gold, you'll stop handing it out like loose change. You can feel it when someone's presence shifts your spirit. Some folks walk in and your heart feels safe, your mind feels calm. But others, as soon as they speak, your chest tightens, your thoughts scatter, your joy dims. That's no coincidence. That's your body warning you. Your energy isn't just something mystical, it's deeply personal. It's your emotional immune system. And just like you wouldn't share your toothbrush, you shouldn't be sharing your peace with people who constantly spit poison. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to fall back without explaining. Every moment you spend defending your boundaries is a moment stolen from your healing. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to sit in every storm just because someone else is comfortable in the rain. You got to be intentional about who you allow to enter your atmosphere. Because when you're constantly absorbing other people's negativity, you'll start thinking it's yours. Protect your light. Guard your joy. Some folks don't want to change. They just want company in their misery. And you weren't built to drown in someone else's darkness. Sometimes the most dangerous people in your life don't come with red flags. They come with smiles, with shared memories, with familiar laughs. That's what makes it hard to walk away. But your spirit always knows you feel drained after talking to them. You start second guessing yourself. You feel small, heavy, stuck, and yet you stay because you think protecting your peace means you're being selfish, cold, or cruel. But let me tell you something. Choosing peace over chaos is not selfish. It's sacred. It's strength. Protecting your energy isn't about cutting everyone off. It's about being so in tune with your own soul that you know when someone is taking more than they're giving. You have to get clear on what drains you, what inspires you, what leaves you restless, and what sets your soul on fire. Don't keep making excuses for people who bring noise into your life. Sometimes love looks like distance. Sometimes loyalty means choosing yourself first. Because if you keep prioritizing people who treat your energy like it's disposable, you'll lose the very thing that makes you whole. And you can't build a full life on an empty soul. People will test your boundaries just to see if you love them more than you love yourself. They'll push, they'll guilt trip, they'll call you distant, cold, difficult. But you've got to understand, your energy is your responsibility. If you keep giving people unlimited access to you, they'll keep pulling. Not because they need you, but because they know you'll say yes, even when it costs you peace. That's not love. That's manipulation. And one of the most powerful things you'll ever do is draw a line and say, not anymore. You don't have to answer every call. You don't have to justify your silence. You don't have to explain why you chose to rest, to heal, to be alone, to not show up. Protecting your energy is about discipline. It's about honoring the moments that refuel you, the people who uplift you, the spaces where your soul breathes. You can't be everything to everyone without first being something to yourself. Don't wait for burnout to realize you gave too much. Don't wait until you're broken to realize your energy is sacred. Set the boundary now and let peace become your new normal. You are not a battery built to keep powering other people's lives while yours runs low. You are not a dumping ground for everyone else's pain. You were created with a purpose, and that purpose cannot thrive in environments that constantly chip away at your spirit. Every time you say yes when you really meant no, you give away a piece of your power. Every time you allow someone to unload their negativity on you without permission, your energy takes the hit. You've got to start choosing environments that feel like light. Start surrounding yourself with people who pour back into you, not just people who take until there's nothing left. Pay attention to how your spirit reacts around people. Your energy is speaking even when your mouth is silent. Learn to listen. Don't be afraid to walk away from what doesn't feel right, even if it once felt like home. Sometimes the most radical act of self-love is saying, this no longer serves me, and moving on without guilt. Your future self will thank you. Because the more you protect your energy, the more you protect your peace. And peace is where your purpose lives. There is no dream big enough, no relationship sweet enough, no friendship long enough to justify consistently sacrificing your peace. You weren't created to live in survival mode. You weren't designed to carry everyone's weight while yours keeps growing heavier. You've got to start living like your spirit is sacred, because it is. Energy is currency, and you've been spending yours on things that don't pay you back. It's time to stop. Protecting your energy means trusting that your value doesn't decrease just because someone else refuses to recognize it. It means learning to rest without guilt, to say no without fear, to detach without explanation. It means knowing that you are worthy of peace, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. Because when your energy is clear, your path becomes clear. You stop forcing, chasing, explaining, proving. You just move. Free, grounded, whole. And that version of you, the one who guards their peace like a treasure, that version can change the world. But it all starts when you say enough. My spirit matters. My peace matters. My energy matters. Because it does. And your life depends on it. You don't always have to respond. You don't always have to clap back, defend yourself, or correct someone's version of the story. Some things are too small for your spirit to touch. Some battles, even if you win, will still cost you your peace. That's why you've got to understand silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It's a decision, a declaration that says, I choose not to be moved by noise, because not everything deserves a reaction. Not every comment deserves your energy. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them build their little narratives. The truth, it always reveals itself in time. But your energy, that can't be recovered so easily. If you respond to everything that triggers you, you give your power away piece by piece. And people who know how to push your buttons will keep pressing them just to watch you fall apart. But when you master your silence, when you choose stillness over shouting, peace over proving, that's when you become untouchable. That's when the chaos outside of you can't touch the calm inside of you. And that is real power. You've got to know the difference between being heard and being baited. Some people don't want to understand you, they want to disrupt you. They want to provoke a reaction just to say, look, see how emotional they are? See how unstable? And the moment you rise to it, they've already won. That's why silence is power, because it means you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to validate lies with explanations. You don't have to show up to every fight you're invited to. Sometimes silence is the only language that protects your peace. It's not about ignoring your pain. It's about refusing to let others dictate how you respond to it. You don't owe everyone access to your emotions. You don't need to spend your energy trying to change minds that are already made up. When you choose silence, you choose yourself. You choose wisdom over reaction. You choose stillness over chaos. And eventually, your silence will echo louder than any scream. It will speak volumes. Because when you stop engaging with foolishness, you starve it. And whatever you starve, dies. Let your silence be the lesson they never forget. It's natural to want to defend yourself, to clear your name, to protect your heart from lies and disrespect. But sometimes defending yourself only drags you deeper into the very thing you're trying to rise above. And not everything deserves that toll. Some things, some people, some moments, they're just noise, static, designed to pull you out of character, to lower your frequency, to make you act in ways that betray your own peace. That's when silence becomes your shield. Not because you're avoiding the truth, but because you are the truth. And truth doesn't need to shout to be real. It just is. And if someone can't see your heart through your quiet, they were never really looking. Don't let temporary chaos steal your permanent calm. Let your silence remind them that your peace isn't up for negotiation. You don't have to prove your worth to people who treat you like a debate. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to win freedom. And the most powerful people are the ones who can sit in the middle of a storm and still not raise their voice. That kind of strength, it's untouchable. You know what takes real strength? Walking away. Choosing not to respond when everything in you wants to react. Holding your peace when your ego wants revenge. It takes strength to be silent when silence feels like defeat. But it's not defeat. It's discipline. It's maturity. It's knowing that your reaction is the prize and some people are just poking at you to claim it. Don't give them that satisfaction. Don't hand over your power like it's worthless. You're not obligated to match anyone's chaos. If they raise their voice, let your silence speak louder. If they throw stones, let your calmness build walls. That's how you protect your peace without becoming bitter. That's how you win without ever playing dirty. Because real ones don't need to shout to be heard. They don't need to prove a point to prove their worth. Sometimes the best revenge is no revenge. Just success. Just growth. Just silence. Let them watch your life flourish in the quiet. Let them feel the weight of your absence where your reaction used to be. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of everything you've chosen to rise above. Protection. There's something sacred about not responding, about walking away from conversations that go in circles, about leaving behind people who thrive off your emotional instability, not because you're afraid, but because you're done. Done wasting words, done explaining yourself to people who've already decided what they want to believe. Your silence, it's not weakness, it's elevation. It's the moment your soul says, we're not entertaining this anymore. You begin to see that peace is more valuable than being right. That your spirit is more important than the last word. And when you stop engaging in battles that don't align with your growth, you finally make room for real healing, for real joy. You start realizing that silence is not a void, it's a sanctuary. It's where your power regenerates, where your thoughts settle, where your strength returns. So let them misunderstand you. Let them gossip. Let them throw stones. You don't have to flinch, you don't have to flail. Just stay grounded, because your silence speaks a language only the wise understand. And those who truly know you, they never needed a reaction to believe in your character. They just feel your truth, even in your quiet. There comes a time when silence becomes the highest form of self-respect. When you stop arguing with people who are more interested in being loud than being right. When you stop replying to every disrespect with equal heat. That's not giving up, that's growing up. You begin to realize that peace isn't something you find outside, it's something you protect from the inside. Every time you remain silent in the face of ignorance, you choose power. Every time you withhold your reaction, you choose freedom. Because when you've tasted real peace, you won't trade it for cheap attention. Some people only see chaos because that's all they know, but you've been through too much to give them your fire for free. Let your silence confuse them. Let your stillness shake them. Let your peace be so loud it drowns out every insult, every rumor, every attempt to pull you back into the pit you climbed out of. You don't need to match low energy. You rise above it. And in that rising, your silence becomes a roar that only the strong can hear. That's where your power lives. Not in your reaction, but in your refusal to give it. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you gave up. It doesn't mean you weren't strong enough to hold on. Sometimes letting go is the strongest, most courageous, most soul-honoring thing you can do. Because holding on to what hurts you, what confuses you, what drains you, that's not love. That's survival. That's fear. That's the lie we tell ourselves to avoid the pain of release. But your peace, your clarity, your healing, it all begins the moment you stop trying to save what keeps breaking you. Letting go is not losing. It's choosing you over chaos, choosing sanity over emotional warfare, choosing stillness over the noise of someone else's indecision. You deserve to breathe without tiptoeing around moods. You deserve to rest without constantly questioning your worth. And maybe it hurts now. Maybe your heart feels like it's being ripped in half, but I promise you on the other side of that pain is freedom. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from the need to explain yourself. Freedom from the heavy silence that follows every fake apology. You are not weak for letting go. You are wise enough to know that healing never happens where the harm is repeated. So choose you. Even if it shakes you, there's a weight we carry when we refuse to let go. A heaviness that settles into our spirit. You smile less, laugh quieter, doubt more. And still you stay. Still you fight to hold together something that's already broken. But the truth is, you can't keep patching up wounds with hope. Hope doesn't heal what keeps cutting. You can love someone deeply and still recognize that their presence is damaging your soul. You can remember the good times and still admit that they no longer outweigh the chaos. That's not betrayal. That's reality. You've spent enough nights crying over someone who won't even change their tone, let alone their actions. You've explained yourself to death, given chances they never deserved, lost sleep trying to figure out why you weren't enough for them to grow. But baby, you were enough. You just weren't meant to stay in the storm. And when you finally walk away, you'll see that letting go was never about giving up. It was about finally showing up for yourself. That's not losing. That's liberation. That's choosing your light over their darkness. You keep waiting for something to change, don't you? For them to suddenly see you, for the apology to come, for the love to feel like love again. But what if I told you the change isn't coming? Not because you're unworthy, but because they're unwilling. What if I told you that holding on is keeping you from the life you were meant to live? See, you can't plant seeds in a hurricane and expect them to grow. You can't keep watering what won't bloom. And sometimes love is not enough. Not when it's one-sided. Not when it costs you your mental health. Not when it asks you to constantly shrink yourself. Letting go isn't about being heartless. It's about being whole. It's about realizing that your peace matters more than their potential. That your future matters more than their apologies. You've got to stop waiting for someone to become who they promised and start becoming who you need. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it'll hurt. But pain is temporary. Chaos is forever. Letting go is not losing. It's rewriting your story with you at the center. Not them, not the drama, just you and peace. So many people confuse letting go with quitting. But quitting is when you stop fighting for something good. Letting go is when you stop fighting for something that's killing you. That's the difference. You're not weak for walking away. You're finally strong enough to stop walking in circles. You've tried, you've pleaded, you've been so far, you forgot what standing straight felt like, and still they stayed the same. Still, they made you question yourself more than they ever questioned their own actions. And you call that love? No, that's survival. That's trauma bonding. That's being addicted to the idea of who they could be while ignoring who they consistently are. Letting go is not abandoning the relationship, it's rescuing yourself from it. You don't need closure, you need clarity. And clarity doesn't always come with explanations, it comes with decision, with silence. With walking away even when your heart is screaming to stay. Because deep down you know, nothing changes if nothing changes. And it's time. Time to choose yourself. Time to choose peace. Time to let go, not because you don't care, but because you finally do. You care enough to stop living in emotional warfare. You ever look at someone and realize they're no longer bringing you joy, only confusion? That every time you talk, it feels like walking on a tightrope? That every interaction ends in exhaustion instead of connection? That's not love. That's chaos dressed in routine, and you've outgrown it. But the scary part? Letting go feels like standing at the edge of a cliff with no net. You wonder, what if I regret it? What if they change the moment I leave? But the real question is, what if you never leave and you never change? What if you spend your whole life waiting for a version of peace you were always meant to create on your own? Letting go is not just walking away. It's returning to yourself, to your voice, to your boundaries, to your truth. It's choosing not to sacrifice your soul for comfort. It's choosing to stop dancing with someone who keeps stepping on your spirit. And yes, it takes bravery.